Hey there, savvy investors! Welcome back to our channel. Are you familiar with the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC for short? This government agency is responsible for regulating the securities industry and protecting investors from fraudulent activity in the US. But unfortunately, the SEC has had its fair share of scandals over the years. So is the SEC really protecting your investments? In this video, we take a closer look at the agency's history of corruption and negligence that has left many investors wondering if they can truly trust the system. So let's take a deep dive into the SEC's past and see what went wrong. First, let's talk about the SEC's role. The agency was created in 1934 in response to the stock market crash of 1929. Its primary mission is to ensure that companies selling securities are doing so in a fair and transparent manner. The SEC also oversees stock exchanges, brokers, and investment advisors. Additionally, the agency is tasked with enforcing federal securities laws, which includes investigating and prosecuting cases of fraud and insider trading. Despite these lofty goals, the SEC has failed in some of its most important duties. One of the most high-profile examples is the Bernard Madoff scandal. Madoff was a well-respected investor on Wall Street who ran a Ponzi scheme that lasted for decades. The scheme defrauded thousands of investors out of billions of dollars. The SEC was aware of Madoff's fraudulent activity for years, but failed to take any action to stop him. In fact, the agency missed numerous red flags that could have alerted them to the scheme. This was a massive failure on the part of the SEC and resulted in a loss of public trust in the agency. Another example of SEC failure is the 2003 mutual fund scandal. Several mutual fund companies were caught allowing certain investors to engage in market timing, which is a practice that is harmful to other investors. The SEC was criticized for not taking strong enough action to prevent this behavior and for failing to adequately punish those involved. In response to this scandal, the SEC implemented new rules and regulations to try and prevent similar activity in the future. But the SEC's problems go beyond these high-profile scandals. In fact, there have been numerous instances where the agency has been accused of corruption and negligence. One example is the Enron scandal, where the energy company's executives were accused of cooking the books and defrauding investors. The SEC was accused of failing to properly investigate Enron's financial statements and for being too close to the company's executives. This scandal led to the company's bankruptcy and the loss of thousands of jobs. Another example of SEC failure is the WORLDCOM scandal. WORLDCOM was a telecommunications company that engaged in accounting fraud, which resulted in the loss of billions of dollars for investors. The SEC was criticized for not detecting the fraud earlier and for not taking appropriate action to prevent it. In response to this scandal, the SEC implemented new rules and regulations to try and prevent similar activity in the future. And let's not forget about the subprime mortgage crisis in 2008, which was caused in part by risky lending practices by banks and financial institutions. The SEC was criticized for being too cozy with these institutions and for not doing enough to regulate them. One example is the case of Goldman Sachs, which was accused of misleading investors about the risks associated with subprime mortgages. The SEC was accused of being too friendly with the Goldman Sachs executives and for not being tough enough on the company. So, what's the solution to all these problems? Well, the SEC has implemented a number of reforms over the years, and there is still more work to be done. For example, the agency has increased its oversight of investment advisors and is working to improve its technology and data analysis capabilities. Additionally, there have been calls for more transparency and accountability at the agency. In conclusion, the SEC plays an important role in protecting investors and regulating the securities industry. The question remains, however, whether the current as well as future leadership of the agency will focus on equitable and trustworthy values, or whether corruption will continue to be at play. Well, that was all for today's video, guys. What is your position regarding the SEC? Do you think they should implement another reform after all, or do you already trust their behavior? We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe and click the bell icon so you won't miss any new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again.